Have you heard of sorghum? My guess is probably not. So sorghum is probably one of my current favorite grains, and I wanted to kind of just talk a little bit about it and then tell you why I think you should eat it too, or at least try it, and how you could do that. So this is sorghum. Now I have a little bit left that's not cooked. So this is the uncooked sorghum. You can see it's kind of like a neutral color, beige, little nebbin of a gem there. And then once it's cooked, it does look a little bit more like a couscous. So it doubles its size, and the texture turns out to be, it's nuttier than like a Israeli couscous if you've ever had that before. And it has a little bit of like a chewiness, earthiness to it, like a wheat berry, but not quite to that extent as like a wheat berry or farro if you've ever had those before. But what I really like about it is that it's a super neutral taste. So unlike something that a quinoa that honestly I have to like be in the mood for, this is a little bit easier to kind of incorporate with lots of different things. You can use it as a base for stir fries. You could do it in a salad, which is what I like to do. And then my husband and I actually will just blend this stuff down, and you can make a flour out of it. And then you make a flour out of it, and you can put it in waffles and pancakes, and like goodness knows that like possibilities are endless there. But what's great about it is that, I mean, it's gluten-free, so if you're in that ballpark of needing gluten-free, wanting gluten-free, it's gluten-free, but it's also high in fiber and protein, so each serving has like 5 grams of each, which is way more than like rice or a lot of other gluten-free grains. But the really cool part is, so it's comparable to quinoa in terms of the protein content, but what's great is that if you want to shop locally, sorghum is actually grown in the US, which like a lot of quinoa is grown in Central and South America, so it actually like takes a really long time to get to. It's not as like environmentally friendly, so to speak, and sorghum is a super hardy grain, so it actually needs very little water to grow. That's why actually most of the sorghum grown in the United States is in Texas and Kansas, Oklahoma, kind of in that central dry grain type of belt. So that's a little bit about sorghum. If you have questions about sorghum, comment below, and I would love to answer them because I am a like total sorghum lover these days. And you can find this on Amazon. You can find it in bulk sections in some stores. Amazon's kind of my go-to, but you can find it in some grocery stores if they're more of like a health food store, but it has to be in like the grain or like the rice section. Honestly, that's less likely. Online's probably your best bet. So again, a little bit about sorghum. Now, when we think about meal planning, I'll give you 2 huge meal prepping and planning hacks. Number 1, make a crap ton of grain. So this grain, sorghum, actually freezes really well, which like rice kind of gets like mushy when it like unthaws. Don't worry about that sorghum. It's perfectly great to freeze and then unthaw and use it. And again, it doesn't change that sort of neutral taste that it already has. So I like to make a lot of this and freeze it because it does take about 45 minutes to 55 minutes to cook. I actually cooked this though last night while I was making dinner, just again planning ahead, so then it was already ready for today for lunch and I have to worry about it. So that's the meal planning hack number 1. Meal planning hack number 2 is when it comes to fresh herbs, think about using like 1 fresh herb maybe a week and just use it multiple times. So this is parsley, which I'll go ahead and add in here now. It's just chopped parsley, and you know, this is probably like only a little bit of the bunch. And so I'm going to use the parsley later on for like a pizza tonight. So that way you can use it for multiple things. So don't go buying a bunch of different ingredients. And you can get creative. Like again, just start adding fresh herbs if you got them. I think that they add a huge flavor. It's just sometimes you don't always use them. So this is going to be like a tabbouleh. If you're familiar with tabbouleh, it's kind of a Mediterranean cold salad. Usually they use bulgur in it, which is a cracked wheat form. So again, sorghum would be gluten-free if that's in your world. But a lot of times tabbouleh has tomatoes. In my whole household, aka me and my husband, we do not like raw tomatoes, so I'm putting in some red bell pepper instead. That's the great part about doing like a salad type of recipe. You just do what works for you and live your life. And then about a cup of cucumber. So this is a half a cucumber, half of this baby right here. And then it was about 3/4 of a bell pepper. So kind of, you know, whatever you got. And then, this is another meal planning hack, y'all. Add some hemp seeds to literally everything. And it really helps kind of boost that protein intake, helps keep you full. Hemp seeds have a lot of omega-3s, they have a lot of zinc and magnesium, and like I can spew out all the nutrition, but what's great about these babies is that they're nut-free, so they're allergy-free, and they have a neutral taste. You can see that they're like kind of, if you're not familiar with them, they're kind of like white, and that fair coloring, similar to the sorghum then, means that they mix in with a lot of things. So I actually like to mix hemp seeds in with hummus. And if I'm gonna put like hummus wrap, mix hemp seeds in with hummus, mix hemp seeds in with peanut butter if I'm gonna dip my apple in my peanut butter for my snack. And I'm gonna mix it in the salad, so it's just a little bit more filling. So that's kind of the salad base ingredients. And then for the dressing, gonna keep it real simple because life is complicated. This is a Myers lemon, which I sometimes like. Myers lemons are actually crosses between a lemon and a clementine, but I like them because they're super duper juicy. So if you love the lemon juice, this could be your jam as well. So I'm gonna squeeze that lemon. I like to put lemons in the microwave for like 20 seconds, 10 to 20 seconds, depending on how soft it already is, and that's gonna help get some of that extra juice out, which means then that you have a nice juicy lemon. So I will say that if you ever juiced a lemon with your hands or a juicer, you don't have to worry about it, but you sometimes do have to go fishing for these little seeds. And so I like to juice my lemon first when I'm doing a dressing, and that way I don't have to worry about it once it's already mixed in with the olive oil. Okay, so we got my lemon juice. That's probably about 3 tablespoons, 2 tablespoons, 2.5 probably. The great part about salad dressing types of recipes too is you just go with it. There's always, always, always sort of, you can switch things out, you can change things out, add more. You can't always take things out. So when it comes to salt, you definitely want to like a little hati-hati. That means be careful in Indonesian. But you just want to be a little bit more cautious with that. So this is, I actually don't know if I can do it from this position, but we'll try. So this is the garlic press from Pampered Chef that I really like because I actually can just already press the garlic in with the, well, we're gonna just keep going. That's life, y'all. Sometimes those little distractions happen when you're a videographer, aka your husband, his phone goes off. So you're gonna mix some garlic. Garlic is a great source of prebiotic fiber. Oh yeah, to support that healthy gut microbiome. So I just kind of pull my little leaf out, good to go. Okay, so we got our salad dressing base, just garlic, olive oil, lemon juice. And then what I like to add to literally everything, this is a game changer. This is herb mary. It's kind of a blend of different spices and herbs. It has celery, leek, sea salt, cress, onion, chives, parsley, garlic, basically a whole bunch of goodness. So I just add in some of that, give it a little stir. In traditional recipes it would say to whisk, but you know what? We like a spoon around these parts. Okay, and then pour this baby on. So, you know, just like with a lot of salad dressings, the more it kind of sits and marinates, it's gonna get all up in there and kind of get close and cuddly into all the little crevices. But we're gonna have lunch now, and so this salad's gonna be good to go. It will stay in the fridge for a couple of days, but the flavors are gonna need a little bit of pop. So what I would recommend is when you pull it out of the fridge, just add a little bit of lemon juice to help those flavors pop, or you can add a dash of vinegar. I would usually add vinegar into this type of thing too, but my husband doesn't like that either. So we adapt, because also I should say, in traditional tabboulehs, you would find mint, and I don't like mint. So the whole point of this is to say, try new things, aka sorghum, but also adapt recipes to your liking. You don't have to do things the way they always do, like you don't have to always do tomatoes or mint or whatever. Also, sometimes you gotta add a little sweetness, am I right? We're just gonna add a little dab. I usually do add maple syrup into the dressing, but kind of forgot that one. So we're just gonna add it in now. It's gonna be perfect. So, you wanna get up close and personal with this gem? I'll put the recipe in the comments below, and I'll also put the recipe, or actually the blog post for the meal planning, and that way you can get some more meal planning tips, because as you can see, this takes all of 2 seconds and is uber delish. See you soon.